Going on YouTube? This your boy Just Making It TV, and I'm back with another one. Now today we're gonna be going over Clifton Powell and his legendary career in Hollywood and how he's gonna expose the dark side about the KKK on the Hollywood side and about a McDonald's commercial that actually ended up telling me he was too black to be in the commercial. Now listen, I love Clifton Powell. If you've seen any movie, Dead Presidents, listen, anything on Tubi, uh, um, they got a movie out called The Waffle House. He was in that. That shit was funny. Um, he's a really sharp kind of cat, and he's really cool. He's dropping some knowledge out there for us. So, if you've seen it on the Art of Dialogue, you're gonna catch it over here. Just Making the TV. I actually fuck with the Art of Dialogue. So, listen, keep an eye out for it. I got some more content coming for y'all. And right now, we're gonna check out what Clifton Powell got to say about Hollywood.
I heard that she was up for a big role in a big TV movie, but you didn't get the role because of your skin tone. The Rudy Bridges story.
Well, basically, what happened was the producers told the director, whose name was Usan Palsy, that I was so dark and it looked like I would scare everyone, so they wouldn't hire me. And that's what happened on that. I haven't spoken on it, but I'm going to put it in my book. And basically, that's what happened. So her, who's African and French, and a white producer whose name I can't remember, said, "Mr. Powell, you are our first choice. If you don't get this role, it's not because we didn't fight for you." But that's happened to me on a McDonald commercial. One of my friends was the producer, and
That's crazy, man. Look, back in the day, we had to deal with so much hate. I don't see how much hate could breed hate. That's why we have the situation we have now with the shooting that we have. We got to learn to start dealing with each other and start at least caring. You don't have to love one another, but at least care.
and, and the agency and the agency thought I was just too dark. You got to understand. I tell people, like I told my panel last night, there was an article years ago. I'm not sure if it was in Esquire magazine that talked about Black Hollywood, White Hollywood, and there's an article in there by Wesley Snipes, white agent from CAA, that sent Wesley in for a role, and this is documented. And they called him and said, "Don't send anybody darker than Denzel." Racism permeates, and it's not the same anymore because we've seen, really dark-skinned actresses and dark-skinned actors. But you got to understand, if Obama was my complexion, he wouldn't have been president.
Very true. Listen, it's quiet, but it's a quiet kept secret, but it's very fucking true. We don't always get the opportunities that we are in just in Hollywood and virtually anywhere we go. And if you've had to deal with any kind of racism, listen, let me know in the comments. Listen, I actually want to hear it. We all have to deal with prejudice, no matter if you're black, brown, or yellow.
You know what I'm saying? I still get followed around stores. I mean, I ride first class. I was in first class one time, and this guy kicked my seat. And I stood up and I said, "Would you have kicked my seat if I was a white boy?" Because there's all kinds of different people in the world that like, what is this doing flying first class with us up here? I make more money than all of y'all in first class. So you got to understand, still people like that in the world. It's people like that in this business. I did a TV series, which I am not going to say, but some of the teachers were Klan members.
Which sucks. It sucks that you wouldn't say, but confidentiality. And you really don't want to put them people in the limelight or give them any kind of clout. But listen, expose these people, man. That way we know. We in the age right now, we get to know our enemy and see him.
This is real. It's real. I don't take any from anybody that's racist, sexist, or anything, period. And I can tell you a billion stories, and I'm never going to take it, period. I encountered some racism on New York Undercover. And the sound man, he was trying to put the mic in my hair. I had a scarf. I was playing this little thug guy, and I had a head wrap like Tupac used to wear. And I told the sound guy, I said, "Sir, I don't want to run the wire up in my hair because I'm going to be rolling on the ground." Maybe I was being a little overprotective, but I could choke. Freak accidents happen in this business all the time. There was a
Right, watching out for yourself. Listen, my pops used to tell me, listen, you gotta watch out for yourself, because don't expect the next man, or even the men that don't even look like you, to be watching out for you. Everybody's out to get you. Listen, that's true to this damn day.
there was a girl. Let me tell you this story. On Vampire in Brooklyn, black stunt lady jumping off a building. They, her first jump was successful. Her family was there. The second jump, somebody adjusted the mat. Go look this story up. She jumped, hit the mat, and bounced into the wall and died instantly.
That's
Yeah.
crazy.
So as I was talking to the sound man, now on a lot of the African American shows back in the day, all the writers, producers were white. You may have one or two black folks there. I don't deal with racism very well because I grew up in Washington, D.C.
Listen, you shouldn't. You know, that shit's it's a sickness, man. And we gotta start learning to love each other, bro. And start seeing each other for deeper than the skin tone, man. You know, it's crazy. It really is. Should nobody put up with racism?
White folks and a million black people. So it's one of my triggers. So I told the sound guy, I said, I don't want to put the wire in my hair. So he turned to me and looked me in my eye. He said, I tell you what then, why don't you do your sound in post? You know what that means?
No, I don't.
What that means is, why don't you do the show while you're here this week, and then you let them fly you back in and then put your sound in. I said, no problem. So I called the first AD, and I said, I think your sound man is a racist. He said, well, what happened, Mr. Powell? I said, well, I was telling him I wanted to put the mic either down on my leg or behind my back and put the wire up in my shirt somewhere. And he told me to do mine in post. So he said, don't worry, I'll talk to him, Mr. Powell. So I assumed that he talked to him.
Grammarly provides a bunch of different suggestions to improve the correctness and style of your writing. Different colors denote different suggestion type.
I got back after lunch. I had to go to sound, same sound guy. I said, sir, like I said before, I don't want to put the wire in my hair. And then he said, what did I tell you? He might have said, boy. He said, boy, what did I tell you before? And I stepped back and I said, let me tell you something, bro. I will knock the f out of you on this sex. And any one of you white boys got a problem with me, I'll fight every one of you motherfuckers.
Listen, any damn show meant that shit's crazy. Sometimes you gotta stick up for yourself. Sticking up for yourself looks some type of way, but listen, sometimes it's necessary. You're gonna have to do it no matter what. You see the shit, address it right then and there, because that second time ain't gonna be no second time.
Period. And I went to my trailer and I called my manager and I said, I'm leaving. She said, what's the problem? And I said, what the problem? She said, well, Cliff, you're in New York. I said, I don't give a f where I am. So the producer called me. He said, what is the problem? I said, this is the problem. Your sound man is a racist. He told me to do my sound in post. I said, so this is what I'm prepared to do. I'm prepared to give you back your hotel money, your flight money, and I'm flying out as soon as I get out of my trailer. He says, Mr. Powell, give me a minute and we'll get you right, because I had the wrong trailer. They put me in a honey wagon. SAG regulates this. So I'm supposed to get everything I'm supposed to get as per SAG. The next day I had a brand new trailer and nobody in the crew talked to me. I did my week and I left.
That's crazy. Listen, it's crazy that Clifton Powell had to deal with that. Like I said, y'all gotta address that shit at the door the first time you feel it or you see it. Because if you don't, people are gonna treat you however they want, man. And listen, don't y'all gotta stick up for yourself these days in 2025. Learn from Clifton Powell right here, exposing the industry, exposing Hollywood, y'all.
Dr. King said, a man can't ride your back unless it's bent. Period.
Listen, I'm
And
not
that's
bending
how
my
I
back.
approach this business. I try to be amiable. I try to be cool. But I'm also a young man that has worked his ass off to get everything I have. I try to be pleasant. I don't believe in any of the isms, but you're not gonna punk me. It's never gonna happen. I will die first. And that's just how I feel. And if people are listening, please try to understand. It's a lot of sexism in this business. It's still a lot of racism, much better than it was. And I'm not gonna bash Hollywood, because Hollywood is a microcosm of what's going on in the world right now. I'm just not that guy. And I'm never gonna be that guy. And so I've lost work because of it. I've been fired because of it. I've walked off of sets because of it. And that's just the way it's gonna be. And that's how I operate. And I'm not bragging. I'm not boasting. I just try to come to work and do my job. Period.
Listen, that's fair, brother. And should nobody expect nothing more from you than to do your job and to carry yourself accordingly and to make a change. Just like you made a change in every one of the movies that you've been in, sir. I respect and I care about Clifton Powell and this career, and I hope to see him in more stuff. This is just making a TV, y'all. Check out the Art of Dialogue, man. A great channel, bro. I'm out. Peace.